Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
From the Loft 100 studios here in sunny Southern California, it is the Big Biz Show. We appreciate you all being along for the ride.
Don't do it.
I am Costa,
don't say it.
And that is Sully. And as we like to begin every program here, we like to say, hey!
Big old howdy to ya!
Okay, that's the J Trader Trio.
What the hell?
Gentlemen, excellent work.
Can I just bring up one more time the fact that we have to sign every year in talk radio, and Mike and I have been in talk radio for 33 years.
Yes.
This is television. We also appear on, we're at 125 million TV homes. We're American Forces radio networks. We're simulcast in 175 countries and all the ships. God bless our military men and women.
Always.
Living our country overseas and underway. However, we have to. What do we have to sign every year? We talked about this the other day. What do we have to sign every year in radio?
It's an affidavit that we have gone and done the training for Plugola and Payola.
Which means that you can't take money for advertising
or merchandise,
right. or either play a guy's song back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Do the genie. You're doing the genie?
Oh, my shoulder hurts. Just trying to keep it warm.
Can I see, is there a logo on your shoulder?
Oh.
Once again, I was talking about this the other day. Municipal is a clothing company that Harry Arnett and Mark Wahlberg own. He's been on the air with us before.
Yes.
And do you have a clothing deal with them?
I do.
For television?
Yeah, I do.
Hold on. I have to say, wait. Hey, Jared, Emmy Award-winning. Emmy Award-winning director. Jared, can you bring yourself up on the camera, please, real fast? Emmy Award-winning Jared. Jared, just not a yes or no. Have we been notified about any income, any revenue streams from Mike? No? Negative. Okay, so negative. Howie Font, who's now running my business, is here with us, our chief analyst from New York City. What's up, Howie? How are you doing?
I'm looking around for something with Ferrari on it. I need them to send me a sample or something.
Yeah. Let's do the Coldplay game on Mike Costa right now.
Oh no! Oh my God! Could you? All right.
You just got busted. Yeah. I just realized you have a municipal thing on every single day. Hey Howie, stock market hit an all-time high yesterday. But you're snoozing about it because, you're telling me the stock market is uninteresting.
Are we?
We hit an all-time high.
Listen, things are fairly boring. I mean, we're doing well. There's no news. The tariff stuff has yet to come into fruition. Earnings are coming, so in the next couple of weeks might be interesting. But right now it's pretty, stable and ever upward. So
well, in 2 weeks,
we're
have earnings reporting in a couple of weeks, so we got the end of quarter here coming up. Is that what you're talking about being interesting?
Yeah, so all the big tech companies are going to release this week or next week, and that'll really guide the economy because, as we talked about several times on the show, it's a market-weighted average, the S&P 500, and that's kind of the barometer that I like to use for the stock market. And these 7 companies are a huge part of the earnings of the S&P 500. So when we see those coming out, we'll see how strong the economy is.
I got a question for you. Is there a publicly traded AI or ChatGPT company that, other than Meta, of course, which has it under, but has there been a criteria-specific one? I was just thinking because that's going to be the next sort of, because remember during 1998 when Thomas Penfield Jackson kind of burst the dot-com bubble, suddenly we saw Facebook, we saw all these companies, and that's been a category. Do you think AI is the next one?
No, I mean, a lot of the inference and training that's done is done with the cloud. So those service providers are a way to kind of get access to it in the public markets. Oracle, I think, is another slept-on company that is gonna do this, but mostly just Google. I mean, do you think Apple doesn't have their own?
Do you think there'll be?
Google Gemini. Yeah.
Do you think there'll be an IPO for one coming up, just based on what you're seeing in the next 18 months?
No. I mean, I think OpenAI is going to raise a lot more in the private markets before they become public, if they even make it that far because of the legal stuff. Grok and XAI, that Elon has plenty of private funding that way, but that will eventually go public, but it's not close to.
All right, we'll see you in a second after the break. Stand by.
Real quick, Sully, just pay attention to the monitor here in studio. I want to look in on the control room once again. Okay. Much more to come in the Big Biz Show, maybe.
Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we welcome you to the Big Biz Show. We're live inside the Loft 100 studios. And as we like to say around these here parts,
Big old howdy to ya.
boom, boom, like we've been doing it for 10 years straight.
Let's go.
That's so lame.
It's on T-shirts everywhere.
Did can I just ask you? So you've been wearing municipal gear. We're 125 million TV homes every day. We're on American Life Network.
What are you saying, son? What are you saying?
Could you? Yes. Wait. There you are. There's your solo. Yeah. This is how you do. You have to go like this.
Oh God! I've been working on my shoulders
We're
so
on
much
Armed
at the
Forces
gym.
Network in 175 countries, and all ships at sea.
Right.
Like I like to say to Greg, 3 Emmys, 4 Tonys, and a restraining order. Are you being paid by municipal on the side to wear their gear?
I am not. Truth be told, I am not. Harry Arnett and Mark Wahlberg have decided to come on and be the official wardrobe sponsor of our Offside Sports Show. And
so not even this show. So you introduced. So I introduced them to you on this show, who you were not even a part of at the time, and now you can. I realized.
Sully, who's our first guest? No,
Howie Font, our lead analyst. No, I don't hear. Okay, all right. Listen, Howie, he's stealing revenue. Howie Font, our lead analyst, is right from New York here. Good to see you, buddy. I know he has something to say about this.
There he is.
Can you believe this? Is there some sort Howie, is there sort of protocol for Mike getting? Every year, Mike and I have been in radio for 35 years on radio.
It's been a while
before we got in television.
Yep.
Yeah, we were on for 35. Yes, we were big in the 80s. Now we're big and we're 80. The bottom line is, we've been in radio and television for a long time.
Yep.
What do we have to sign every year at the radio station?
The Plugola Payola. You have to go through that testing, all that crap, and saying you're not going to do it.
So can you explain what Plugola Payola is?
Plugola Payola is
taking side money from a sponsor without giving the network some money.
Doing exactly what I'm doing with municipal. It's what Plugola and Payola are.
That's nice.
Mike, I have one technical question.
Yep.
Very market driven, and I don't know if it's going to be over the audience's head. How does one get in on this? In
all honesty, truth be told, there are hoodies coming for 3 members up on stage at the day.
But not me and not you.
For Sully
do you need
and
my
for
address
you.
or something?
No, they're going to come here to the station, to the studio. But yes,
I think we have Mark Wahlberg coming. I know we've had Harry Arnett here. And when he comes, you'll have to come, Howie. By the way, did he get a medium?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
For Howie.
Yep.
Hey, Howie, we've been talking about...
Next time I'm on the show, it's going to look like a NASCAR.
It's like remember Tin Cup? He was out there with like Joe's Deli, or Rocky comes out there. I know advertising.
Chico's bail bonds.
Last week, Congress did something. 2 bills were passed creating regulations on cryptocurrencies. It's called the Genius Act, and it's now in place here. Now, I would argue that until there's adoptability in cryptocurrency, we're going to have a little bit of an issue. But at the end of the day here, we all have the same $40 in our wallet or purse we have for 6 months because we all use our debit cards. We're using digital currency. Mm-hmm. Talk about this real quickly.
Yeah, I think something that's pretty incredible is that, if you wanted to communicate with me 30 years ago, maybe you were starting to send an email, but it was pretty convenient. Probably a fax if it was really urgent. If I couldn't get there for a phone call or something.
Hey, Howie, Mike was wearing a garage door opener instead of a pager in the bars, so just to look cool.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, we had these things that could only beep. They could send you like one line of text.
Right.
And it was mostly call me back at the number.
Remember when you had to do 111 like you had 111?
You had different codes.
Yeah.
I don't remember. No, but
that's right. You weren't born yet.
My point is that in that 30 years, the way that we've changed communications technology has changed immensely. I mean, email, text message, social media, just the amount of throughput. We're sending 4K video instead of just one line of text saying call me back on a pager.
Yeah.
But we haven't changed the payment rails. I mean, we're still using ACHs. We're still using the wire system. It's slow. It's clunky. It for some reason costs something. Wire costs $25 each way or something like that. And there's all these transaction costs, but crypto's enabling at least that to get modernized. And it's kind of, the bank's fault for leaving this vulnerability to crypto because other countries don't have this. So basically what this legislation does is it sets rules and an even playing field around one, whether or not they're actually securities, which means the SEC can regulate them without destroying the whole industry. And then two, the Clarity Act that says stable coins are okay. These things that are one-to-one with the dollar.
So which I want to ask about.
Yeah.
The thing about digital currency, let's like Bitcoin, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
The idea is we have a fiat currency anyway. Let's talk about the U.S. dollar. U.S. dollar is a global currency. All goods and services in this world are priced with U.S. dollars. I don't care what city you are in, what state you're in, what country you're in. Everything is priced in U.S. dollars. So if you're buying oil country to country, even in the U.K., it's priced in U.S. dollars. Long story short, makes this a global currency. But we are a fiat currency like every other currency in the world, meaning there's no gold standard, which goes back to when Nixon took us off the gold standard, meaning that it's a perception currency, okay? Now, digital currency happened literally when, if I'm not mistaken, it was either Venezuela or some city like Corfu was not, had no confidence in their currency, and they started trading seashells or something instead for currency, and that's how global currency started. But the problem was, still it's a perception issue. So they created this thing called the blockchain. Blockchain is the infrastructure in which digital currency plays. So it's all transparency. So I hand you $1, you hand me a potato. It is now verified by 1 million people, but there's no broker, there's no potato broker, there's no dollar broker. And that's where this is going. My question for you, Howie, is what does this do to change anything with the Congress bills? Because until we have adoptability, because right now, look, the only thing I use Bitcoin for is investing. Okay, I realize some places take it. Usually onlyelbows.com will take cryptocurrency instead of dollars.
Yep.
But long story short, it's not a standard payment system yet. And for us to get there, I believe we'll get there in the next decade. But it's got to have adoptability. So is this the on-ramp to that in your opinion?
I think this is the on-ramp to that for a couple of reasons. I mean, one, if you get a business to a certain size, there's only a certain level of risk that you're willing to accept. It's offshore, but the company Tether that creates the Tether tokens that are one-to-one with the US dollar, so that you can, you take dollars, you buy Tether with them, you use the Tether, you buy Bitcoin, whatever crypto tokens you want. That company has, I think, $104 billion worth
in
of
value.
Tokens, and in tokens. No, I mean it's actually a much larger company if you wanted to value it based on its flows, because it collects and it buys treasury bills. It collects the interest on those.
So they're backing the value with traditional. So which brings me to my next question on stablecoin.
Yeah.
If stablecoin follows a dollar, right?
Yeah.
Or several stablecoins will follow the yuan, they'll follow whatever. If you're following the dollar, what's the difference between having a dollar and a stablecoin? Because it's all perceived
that it gets to move on the blockchain.
Got
that
it.
you get to
so
move
it's more transparent.
Blockchain,
so it's more transparent.
Wise and yeah.
So in your opinion, if blockchain makes everything transparent, why will we ever need stockbrokers? Why will we ever need mortgage brokers? Why will we ever need car salesmen?
Yeah.
Honestly,
well, listen, Robinhood. This is veering away a little bit, but I think it's interesting enough to talk about. Robinhood bought a huge chunk of the private company, not SpaceX. OpenAI.
Yeah, OpenAI.
And they tokenized it. So they said, okay, we've got, I don't know, call it $1 billion worth of OpenAI according to their last valuation. We'll split that into $1 billion $1 tokens and we'll sell it to people, and they'll. And
the $1 tokens are being sold for $170 now. By the way, so, I mean honestly.
Well, But that's market.
That's free market economy. My question is, what is the difference between that and before we had the SEC in 1920, when people were selling 200% of 100% of their company, which caused the stock market crash, which suddenly the Securities and Exchange Commission comes in to make sure that every share of stock in every company is registered, because that's what caused the great collapse of the Great Depression.
That could happen. Yeah, that could happen. But
so the next
question, a roundabout shadow stock market in some way.
And not to mention the derivatives market. So here's my question. So is there going to be regulation? Because over-regulation is one thing, but regulation will keep us safe in terms of knowing that if this is actually something that's tradable. I mean, right now, we're sort of protected against stock fraud, because you got an SEC? I mean, listen, there's always bad actors out there. What is the regulations got to step up? Because I think we may be putting the cart before the horse here.
Yeah, no, I do think that this is a big step towards doing that, because now it used to be that it was kind of up to the courts, or we didn't know. Is Howie token? I create.
That's a valuable token, damn it.
I buy the heck out of that.
You buy tequila with that. We use that to buy. We buy 6 packs of tequila.
Howie, can I ask a quick question? Back to the potato I purchased. Does it go in the front of my Speedo?
Or the back of the
back
Speedo?
of my Speedo?
Don't steal my stuff. Safety tip, if you're wearing a Speedo, the potato goes in front.
All right. It's our Big Biz market analyst, Howie Font. Keep it here. Much more to come with the show. Don't go anywhere. I mean, it was...
Stop, Grunt.
Rolling on for the Loft 100 Studios, it is the Big Biz Show. Hope everybody out there is having a great day. We certainly are. That is the Day Trader Trio, back here at the bar, as we like to say all the time. Nobody, a big old howdy to ya. No one has ever said that. Hello, world. Costa.
Hello, world.
And Sully.
Mike, get up in there. Mike,
Wow.
Get up in there.
What?
Have you ever seen Mike and Dave need wedding days?
No.
It is the greatest comedy next to the hangover in the history.
Push pop.
Yeah. What's a push pop?
Oh, that's a...
What's a push pop?
What's a push pop?
Honestly, you hear Mike and I quoting movies, not just Godfather, but we have such an eclectic. I think we should have a movie night, a Big Biz movie night here. Invite the audience in the Loft 100 Studios.
Oh.
We'll watch some of our favorites, like
just quote the whole thing.
like Caddyshack,
Yep.
of course. Mike and Dave need wedding days.
Yep.
And then the Godfather. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday. Leave the gun, take the cannolis. Shep Hyken is our guest, of course, Chief Amazement Officer, one of my man crushes here. I met him in a keynote speaking event. He's one of the best keynote speakers in the country, but he's also one of our favorite guests because he talks about consumer amazement. He's the author of that book called I'll Be Back.
New York Times, Wall Street Journal best-selling author Shep Hyken, heir to the Hyken fortune, by the way. Always love to have him on the show. Mr. Hyken, how are you, sir?
Hey, I think I'm going to quote somebody. A big howdy to ya.
That is not a thing. That's not going to be a thing.
Shep, it's on T-shirts everywhere.
Let's not make that a thing.
Yeah.
Shep, great to see you, brother.
Great to be seen. Great to be back.
We got to get you in studio at some point in the West Coast. I'd love to see you. I miss you. I need to have you in studio here. I got a question for you. One of the first things you said when we first started having you on the air a number of years ago was that one of the issues with customer service issues is the velocity of response. And my book, 1 Hour Advantage, or Get More Sizzle Done, as the others like to call it. I would argue that because I'm very prescriptive about my scheduling. I'm defensive of my white space on the calendar. I always say if you let somebody waste 10 minutes of your time, or you waste 10 minutes of your time every day, that's 61 hours a year.
Yikes.
My analogy is, if you get on the phone with a credit card company, there's your 10 minutes of the day that you're wasting, or any customer service. Talk about velocity. Is that improving? Is that improving anymore, or is it still something you have to drive into your clients?
Well, here's my question. Would you rather get your question answered right away, or do you want to wait 10 minutes or even longer? Or by an automatic prompt thing, like where it goes 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, because I'm going crazy because I don't want to have to do 10 minutes just to get to somebody. I know, and you're screaming, representative. Customer
and it says,
support.
I don't understand, representative. Representative.
One of the questions we asked in our annual research, have you ever screamed in the phone, agent or representative, over and over and over again? I can't remember the number, but it's a very, very high percentage of customers. Here's the point. Digital or AI customer service is becoming better and better, and people need to recognize they have a choice. Do they want the information now, or do they want to go through the pain and friction of being put on hold, asking a question, maybe being transferred to someone else? And many times, so many times, the questions they're answered can be happening digitally. By the way, what's the first thing you do when you want to find a phone number of a company?
Ask
you
her.
go on their website, right?
Yeah. So
you Google. Yeah, you're already going digital.
On that subject,
go a little bit further, do it.
On that subject, Shep, my barber, okay, because I've got such a sumptuous hairline, I've got to see him every 3 days. My barber, who opened up his own little barber shop in a nice part of town, you can book online, but he also has a virtual assistant that he played for me the other day, which is fantastic. It doesn't sound like the old virtual assistants. It's, hey, I can help you here. What would you like to do? Get a haircut. Okay, he's available. It was amazing how within 30 seconds I could make an appointment, literally 30 seconds, and choose appointments that are available next week for this guy based on a virtual assistant. Is that part of the answer, do you think, or is that still a danger?
100% part of it. But think about it. You call a doctor's office, your dentist, to get a haircut. Why not go digital? Oftentimes, especially doctor things are a little bit confidential. So you have an account, you log in, you put in your password, and you get to look at the schedule availability and compare it to yours. And you don't have to call, and you don't have to have somebody put you on hold, and then they come back, and then they're interrupted by somebody that's in the waiting room that wants to talk to whoever it is that's talking to you. And next thing you know, it is 10, 15 minutes of wasted time when it can all be done in a minute or two.
Hey, Shep, I'm going to tell you, just to let you know, I just heard that you could have a full head of hair if you were not getting your haircut at the dentist. I'm just telling you right now. Boom.
Shep, Shep, I actually have anxiety now when I go get a cup of coffee and I know that barista is going to spin that keypad around to me, and there's going to be the options of a 20%, 22%, or 25% tip.
30%.
30, okay, and then there's also that little box that says no tip. And I'm at the point now where...
But then you're embarrassed. You're like...
Well, I'm kind of losing the embarrassment, though. I'm just going like... and looking right at the face when I hit no tip.
So you've turned into Get Off My Lawn, Dad.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
All right.
Well, I've gone to buy a candy bar at a convenience store.
No.
Yeah.
Have you heard that bit about Bill Burr that said, he talks about, look, I paid for 100% of a sandwich. I'm not going to get the mayo packets and put it on it. I'm the customer. Last time I knew, I wasn't working for Subway. So it's sort of like, when did I become the cashier for Subway? Now, look, I understand the convenience factor. And I also understand, maybe there's a sense of security knowing that you're in part of control of the transaction because of all the fraud that's gone on with digital currency and stuff. However, I'm not sure that that's the way we want to go, the road we want to go down. Here, let me talk to you about this, Shep. I can tell you I had the most satisfying customer service experience about 10 years ago. I talked to you about this recently.
It took 10 years ago?
No. I remember being on the phone with Best Buy, okay? And it was a ridiculous notion. I can't remember what the matter was, but it was just ridiculous. Like, got charged 3 times for something, and it was like, the lady was absolutely rude. So I went and I bought a share of Best Buy stock. BBY. Called the CEO of the company. You're never going to get the CEO, but I said, hi, I'm a shareholder, I'm also a consumer, and I got a problem. And one of the greatest things was, I got a call back from the assistant to the CEO. Said, let me get on this. Who talked to the regional manager, who talked to the store, who talked to the phone bank. And it was like, it was satisfying. What it brings, look, I got my pound of flesh. But response to consumer feedback is something that was lacking for probably the last 15 years. Is that changing?
I think it's still sometimes difficult to get what you want, and I think the way you did it was perfect. I suggest to everybody, if you have a real problem, by the way, I had a similar experience with Best Buy, not with being overcharged, but I bought an item that they said was back ordered. It was a computer. It was a great price. Why was it a great price? It was the last generation of technology. They kept saying, when we get it in, we'll send it to you. I said, you're never going to get in the last wave of technology.
By the way, exactly, right. Yeah, and they sent you a TRS-80 computer from Radio Shack.
Exactly.
20 years later.
It was a Commodore, actually.
Claude, last question. I'm sorry, Shep, last question for you. There is an employee golden rule in terms of customer service. And you've talked about this on stage, you've talked about this in your book. Talk about what it is, because I think it's important.
Essentially, it's if you're a manager or leader, you treat the people who work for you the way you want your customer treated, if not even better, because you set the tone, you demonstrate the behavior, and what's happening on the inside is felt on the outside by the customer.
There you go.
Shep Hyken, New York Times, Wall Street Journal bestselling author of I'll Be Back, How to Get Customers to Come Back Again and Again. The good news, he will be back on our show as well.
I took his advice, and this is our last meeting of me talking to our employees.
I'm tired of this. I'm sick and tired of an 8 and 10 record. I'm tired of losing to Purdue. I'm not here to around this. I don't ever want to see it again. Ever.
And we're better for it. Much more to come to the Big Biz Show. Keep it here.
Bye, guys. You can hear me? Thanks.
We are inside the Loft 100 studios. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we always appreciate you being along for the ride. Those gentlemen right there, best in the business, no lessons, self-taught.
Are you telling me they're the best? They're the best band on a business program in this world?
Pretty much.
Is there any other band? Is there any other band that's on a business program?
Back here at the bar, it's Costa and Sully as we roll on another beautiful day.
Let's see. Look who's here. One of my favorite guys already. I met one time, Mark Herz, Dr. Herz. Dr. Herz. That's interesting.
I know, yeah.
Dr. Herz.
Dr. Herz is the president, CEO of GRI Bio Inc. Their ticker symbol is GRI. Great to have you in studio.
Well, thanks, man. It's nice to be here. This is an awesome setup.
So, yeah, all that Zoom last week from your closet at home, and now you're here at the studio. Good to see you. We had a chance to talk a number of times. You know, let's talk about the therapeutic landscape of what you guys do for the people that missed you last week. Reset real quickly and talk about what GRI does, because it's interesting to hear kind of what you've done in the past and how it's kind of led you up to this company. It was kind of a natural progression. It's almost like you don't know what you don't know, but of course you're here after what happened in the past, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we work in lung fibrosis, idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which is a absolutely devastating disease. Typically hits people in kind of their mid 60s, 70s, 2 to 3 year median survival from diagnosis. I mean, so this is rough.
What are the symptoms?
Actually, cough.
Yeah.
See you, Sully.
Yeah, shortness of breath. I mean, weight loss.
Is eating too much Funyuns and tequila a symptom? Okay, you're good.
You're good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the I in the name idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis means they don't really know what causes it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's almost like it's like something carcinoma on your own primary, right? I mean, it's almost like a CUP. It's like when people get cancer and metastasize, and they can't ever figure out where the cancer came from.
Right.
Even people post mortem. So is this? It's almost like pericarditis. You know, you have your heart sits in a pericardium. It's a sac, and people get what's called the devil's grip, and they get fluid in their heart, and they can't figure out why it's not pervasive, but they think it's a virus. It's not really lifestyle related. It's not. Is this the same type of thing as you roll the dice?
I mean, so one, it's often diagnosed by ruling out everything else.
Yeah.
So that's a problem because it delays treatment. There are some things, so if you've smoked, if you're that age, male, unfortunately for us, it hits men more than women. There's a couple other things that are risk factors, but there's no clear cause.
Do you know what else hits men more than women? Women. Can I ask you this? What is the, and I hate to ask this question because it's a grotesque question, because you're in the business of curing, which you're also in the business of being a publicly traded company. What is the addressable market size in terms of this?
So it's a sizable market. It's an orphan indication. It affects about 40,000 Americans each year. There's 2 approved drugs, and they sell $4 to $5 billion a year.
So you've got a worldwide market of probably closer to $8 billion.
Well, yeah.
So is it a situation where a degradation of the lung tissue, your bronchial airways, things like that?
Or is there just stuff that grows?
Yeah.
It's fibrosis. So in the small air sacs in the lung, they stiffen as they develop scar tissue, and it blocks the ability for oxygen and exchange to happen. So they're constantly short of breath. They tire easily. They have a persistent, unproductive cough. They just,
Is it, other than the open air indicators, like you talked about, weight loss and coughing and fatigue and so on and so forth, have they done studies on saying, triathletes that ride their bicycles more than 100 hours a year, or people that don't do any physical exercise, is there anything like that? Any physical, there's no lifestyle things? Interesting.
No. I mean, like I say, there's a couple of risk factors, but there's no clear,
So the unmet need here is for this specifically. Now, can we, before we get to exactly what your therapy does, is there any other indications that it would potentially help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you take a couple steps back, fibrosis is the same whether it's in your skin, your heart, your lung, kidney. You have it. There's obviously some differences, but if you have a really powerful anti-fibrotic, there's reason to believe it would be therapeutic in other fibrotic indications.
Is there a CPI? Is there an inflammation indicator in this? Does it go along with inflammation, or is this part of it, part and parcel?
Yeah. So chronic inflammation is one of the drivers.
So CRP goes up, it may be an indicator.
Yeah, and just anything that prolongs that inflammation. So inflammation for too long tends to lead to problems, fibrosis being one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Mark Herz is the president and CEO of GRI Bio Inc. Their ticker symbol is GRI. I can guarantee you all of us in this studio, after you're off the air, are going to be walking around the building going to make sure. Yeah. I mean, are there things you can do? Obviously, hey, maybe don't smoke. Don't work in an asbestos building. Don't do that. But, I mean, are there things you can do to
because look,
stave it off?
Because people in their 60s have like 20 good summers left and maybe 5 bad ones. But, I mean, they got some life to live.
Yeah.
And this is why it's, 40 is the new 60.
Yeah.
I mean, honest to goodness, and 60 is the new dead. But the point is, my point is, if 60-year-olds are still considered, and they are active young people, and in this case men, is this a life expectancy issue as you mentioned at the very beginning? Is this something that you're on your way? Is this the off ramp?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer to if you just change this one thing, you're going to protect yourself from IPF. I think it's common sense kind of things, like you said, don't smoke, don't work in an asbestos, riddled building.
Okay.
Do everything you can to reduce chronic inflammation.
Oh, right. Two things. You talked about 2 treatments already.
Yeah.
I want to ask you 2 questions. First of all, because the audience is going crazy, talk about what your therapy does. And number 2, why is it so difficult to introduce a novel treatment? Because I think that's part of the challenge here, right? So in other words, what does your therapy do?
So our therapy targets a specific lymphocyte that's kind of one of the bad players in chronic inflammation. If you can turn off the activity of these cells, you can reset the immune system. So for whatever the reason, sometimes your immune system just gets triggered and it won't turn off. That's essentially chronic inflammation. Right. And so if you can reset that to homeostasis, you can affect everything that's downstream of chronic inflammation.
So but it's also, to go to my previous question, and we're talking about GRI 0621 or 821?
0621.
This could be a way bigger story in terms of not just other therapies, but the entire reset of your inflammation system. Potentially?
Absolutely, and that's definitely what we have been able to show in preclinical models of different inflammatory diseases.
So as we're looking at the arc of the story for the FDA here, okay?
Yeah.
And you've got a number of therapies here. Is the reason you go for this indication versus the overall indication, because this is low-hanging fruit, this is the fastest to an NDA, fastest to commercialization?
Correct.
Okay, so talk about that. Where are we at?
Yeah, so IPF, we're in phase 2. We actually have top-line data coming out later this year. That's kind of the what we're all waiting for from this.
And top line data in this case is covering what specifically?
This is covering 36 patients treated for 12 weeks, looking at the ability.
12 weeks?
That's all, yeah.
That's it?
You get enough of an idea of if you're moving in the right directions to warrant going into the next bigger study. In this case, the next bigger study would be a phase 2B pivotal, so potentially registrational trial.
Right, so NDA. So here's my question. It says the CEO of a public company for Biotech, okay? You're in it for the science. And you're basically quarterbacking this deal, taking a 50,000 foot view. So you've got 3 kind of tracks right now going through that arc of the story for the FDA. And then once again, I have to ask, if you know in the back of your head, okay, this thing could be a panacea for this thing, whatever, fill in the blank, but the fastest way because of regulation to get there is to do this. Am I accurate in saying that?
You're right. So the big indication in this space would be MASH, which is a liver fibrosis.
Yeah, that's
metabolic.
Is that MASH versus NASH?
It's now MASH.
Oh, it's now okay. So NASH used to be cirrhosis or was fatty liver, right?
So fatty liver disease. So it was NASH, non-alcoholic liver disease, and then
there's ASH
or corned beef hash.
Corned beef hash. Yeah. And then they changed it to M stands for metabolic disease. So it's really a metabolic disease.
And once again, what's interesting here, because look at you guys are preclinical phase 1. I mean, you've got 3, the GRI NKT, GRI 0803, and GRI 0621. You're moving through this pretty similarly. I mean, you're not that far, because typically when you see arc of the story for FDA, you typically see the first line, over here and the other 2 down here. You're paying as much attention to all of them. And I'm assuming that's because it could be an enterprise-wide solution.
Yeah, so we also work on autoimmune disease. Some of these are focused there, but there's a lot of similarities, and many autoimmune diseases also have a fibrotic component or even overlap with some of these diseases. So a different liver indication, PSC, often have ulcerative colitis at the same time. So there's something's wrong, and it can manifest itself in different ways.
Why in the world would it be so difficult for novel therapies? I mean, it just seems like it really is. It's not the cure for cancer, but it is a panacea for, what people don't understand about cancer is it all comes down to inflammation. Inflammation. I mean, everything you hear, and look, as good as we're doing in cancer therapies, I think we're only curing 7% of all cancers as a rule. So for me, why would it be so difficult to do novel therapy? It just seems like a natural laydown on this thing.
I mean, so it's a great question.
Or is it criteria specific to just this indication that's a novel therapy is difficult for?
So for IPF, why is it difficult? That's a question of why is developing novel therapeutics for fibrosis difficult?
Right.
And it's difficult because it's not a simple disease. It starts with a really important thing. You have an injury, you start a healing process. When that injury becomes prolonged or repeated, it drives healing to chronic inflammation to fibrosis. And so the challenge is, where do you go in that?
Well, here's where you go. You're bringing a sledgehammer to the frickin' party with the 12-week core week therapy. I mean, I would argue that it's not. I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep you for a second. Let's take a quick break. 'Cause I want to come back. I got another question for you because there's a lot of near horizon stuff that we can talk. There's some good news to this bad news here that's going on here.
Mark Herz, President, CEO, GRI Bio Inc, ticker symbol GRI. Keep it right here. Much more to come. Many more questions to ask him as the Big Biz Show rolls on. In over 175 countries, all the ships at sea, you can hear us on the American Forces Network. As we always say, thank you to the brave men and women of our United States Armed Forces. What you do, what you've done for us. Playing a little Ozzy Osbourne is the Day Trader Trio back here at the bar. It is Costa, it is Sully.
Can I ask you? So if you hear, I'm looking at my phone only because I sent a text about these guys. If you hear these guys play, James East, our bass player, here's my question. Have you heard of the bands Tony Braxton?
Yes.
Patti LaBelle?
Yep.
James Ingram?
Yep.
Sir Elton John?
Who?
Eric Clapton?
Yes.
And the Little Chris the Nightcrawlers at the Mirror Mesa Bowl on Thursday. That's James East right there.
You played with Little Chris, man.
Ryan Jordan, James Brown, Dave Matthews, the Allman Brothers, Ray Manzarek of the Doors, Buddy Miles, and Mike's Garage Band. That's.
And you know, look how embarrassed he gets by us. He's just like, yeah, okay.
No, the two guys up there are the most humble two guys in the band, and then there's me and Trace.
Right.
Trace,
Because I'll tell you who I played
Trace,
with. I'll do it.
Trace, you played with some big names.
Billy Davis, Marilyn McCoo of the Fifth Dimension, Lester Abrams, who wrote Minute by Minute for the Doobie Brothers with Michael
Were you on
McDonald.
stage with us when Lester Abrams was here?
Yes.
We got to sing and play with him.
Yes.
Listen, baby.
Not that one.
Minute by Minute.
Minute by Minute.
He was in the studio like a couple weeks ago.
Marilyn McCoo,
Billy Davis Jr.
smoking.
Still.
Yes.
That's
To this day.
why don't you give us something, Trace? Why don't you bust something out?
Oh, from me? From moi?
Oh, you just want to get paid.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this middleman's entries of articles. This artist made audible observations for mass production and mass consumption. I'm a fly school graduate ready for class instruction. Now the path that I'm trudging. Okay, no, slow down. Okay, cool. Settle down.
I'd still be going,
Have you heard of the Dan Band?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know who the Dan Band is?
It sounds really familiar.
Okay, Dan Band was first featured in a movie called
Is it
Old School.
They were
Okay.
the wedding band for Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And, all of us, and they were singing
Slam.
Turn around.
Bright Eyes.
That's right.
And he busts out like just
All these MFs in the middle of the song.
And then the producer for The Hangover saw the guy in a restaurant.
Yes.
Walked up and said, "Hey, can you come play in the Hangover movies?" And apparently he was on the set, and the guy broke out and goes, "Can you do that cussing stuff?" He goes, "Can I?" And that's how it ended up in the movie. Fantastic. Our guest today is Mark Herz, Dr. Mark Herz. He's the CEO and president of GRI Bio, talking about IPF, which is a horrible disease. We were talking about why it's so difficult to develop novel treatments. Last question on that. Is it the existing big pharma? Because obviously the risk aversion model of this business is you take it to the 5-yard line, big pharma comes and takes it to commercialization. When there's 2 drugs out there already, is there black helicopters outside your office? Because is that one of the reasons it's tougher? It's more of an overall issue?
It's the biology of the disease, which isn't even specific necessarily for IPF. It's also for other fibrotic diseases. I mean, there's 2 approved drugs. They're both coming off patent. The big issue, though, is they just aren't great drugs.
No.
So they slow the decline in lung
But does that
function.
help? Does that help the velocity of your path through the FDA, or do they compare? I mean, because we look at comparables when we're dealing with biz valuation. They don't do that when they're dealing with drugs, huh?
It helps some. I mean, it helps that it's an orphan indication.
Not that it's going to get you faster. Maybe put you in the front of the line because it helps. It's a better therapy than what's existing out there, right? I mean, this just
so no. I don't think the FDA thinks that way. So
it would. If you had a better mousetrap, not that you'd have to test the mousetrap, but wouldn't you put it at the front of the line if it showed promise?
But everybody thinks their mousetrap is a better mousetrap.
But the minute you have top line data, you have proof.
Data rules the day. So,
okay,
yeah.
Okay, now we spent 10 minutes talking about the bad news. Let's talk about the good news. There's some exciting developments on the near horizon for this disease, or for this space, right?
So there's been a lot of work being done in fibrosis. Unfortunately, a lot of it has not been successful, but you learn from all those failures. Like not just the company, but the whole field learns from those failures. And I think where it's moving now is people have a better understanding of what's driving fibrosis, where to intervene. It's this process that starts here and goes here. Where do you go? Most therapies have started quite late, so close to the actual, deposition of fibrosis. It's kind of too little, too late. I mean, it was an obvious place to look first, but that's a difficult ask to try to stop this kind of runaway train when it's already going 100 miles an hour.
When you first started peeling back the layers of this bloomin' onion. We're brought to you by Bloomin' Onion Brands. Anyhow, no, but seriously, as you peel back those the layers of it, did you?
Excuse me. Are you talking about authentic Australian food?
Yes, exactly. 1,000%. As you started it, did you have any concept of how many people were affected, or was it once you kind of did the deep dive, you're like, holy cow, it's a lot more than you thought?
So I think what we learned in this process. We had an idea of the number of people, and listen, we certainly understood the potential in an anti-fibrotic and how it can be rolled out to multiple indications.
Okay.
What threw us was the massive unmet need that still exists, and that yes, there's a lot of activity in this space, but drugs keep failing for the same reasons. They have a safety issue, which doesn't allow to use a therapeutic dose or reduces what you can use. That's where we have one of our advantages. This molecule's already been in like almost 2,000 people.
Jeez.
And on that subject, when is the? I don't know. I'm sure there's rules around this. When compassionate therapy has to come in, you'll be one of those drugs that has probably compassionate therapy program at some point. When is that allowed? Is that down the road, or is that something after top liner?
So you can do kind of open label studies or. Like you're saying, compassionate use kind of things. There's a challenge for a company in that. I mean, one, you have to make the drug. You're not looking to make a profit. You're just trying to help people at that point.
And you guys aren't making doses, on the spot. You're researching the elements of the dose.
So we make, a little bit more than what we think we're going to need, but we're not making commercial scale yet.
You're talking about 50 people maybe, or 20 people. You're not talking about thousands of people. For compassionate is a really, now they allow you to use compassionate. And if you don't understand what compassionate is, it's pre-FDA approval. If the indication is it's probably safe, sometimes you can bring in people that have really nowhere else to go. It's last door on the street for the disease to try to see if this works on them. Now, if indeed we have positive outcomes on compassionate therapy, is that allowed in data for the FDA, or do they take that in consideration?
Yeah. So let's say we get fantastic data at our trial. The top line data looks great. We could consider doing kind of compassionate use, or even like what I'm calling open label studies, where you allow people to go on it. There's no placebo control arm. Everyone's on drug.
Whoever thought we'd be so enthralled with a biopharma and a disease as we are? You got to come back here, man. It's really interesting. What are you looking most forward to in the next 6 to 18 months? Is it obviously top line data?
Top line data.
What's the next after that?
So we're doing a lot of what's called pharmacodynamic kind of biomarker work in this study. So we're going to not only see did it work, did it not work, but we're going to do a lot of work to actually understand exactly why and how it's working. And that allows us to really tailor this for the right patients, the next indication, really understanding exactly how this drug works.
Fantastic.
Dr. Mark Herz, President, CEO, GRI Bio Inc., their ticker symbol, GRI.
So good.
You're going to see a lot more of him on the Big Biz Show.
By the way, hold on a second, GRIBio.com, GRIBio.com. Check it out.
That is the website. And this is the goodbye, because the Big Biz Show is over as always. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.